Thank you for joining us on another edition of Join Caucus on the Joy News channel on Multi TV. Now, it's been an eventful day. The Electoral Commission now has the all clear to charge filing fees for presidential and parliamentary candidates. But it seems the PPP is seeking to keep up their fight. We'll find out why. Meanwhile, the Mahama and Akufo-Addo campaigns are up and about, while the PPP has suspended its activities as it begins 3 days of mourning following the demise of their candidate for Clote-Kole constituency. My name is Jifa Bampo. When I return, I'll introduce our guests. But feel free to join us via text on 0560-800-00 and also on facebook.com/joynewsontv. Thank you for joining us this evening. So we'll be taking a look at a mixed bag of issues that have been happening this week. Big among them is that, of course, Nana Akufo-Addo, the NPP flag bearer, is on campaign in the Greater Accra region. We know that President John Mahama has been on a week-long campaign in the Bono Ahafo region. The PPP were on campaign in the northern region. Unfortunately, a few mishaps have forced them to suspend their campaign. First, there was an accident, and then as of yesterday they lost one of their parliamentary candidates for the Clote-Kole constituency, Madam Eva Loko. We'll be bringing you more on that later on in the show once the PPP joins us. But for now, we have the NPP with us, and Alfred Thompson, who is a member of the NPP's communication team, joins us in the studio. Good evening to you, Mr. Thompson.
Good evening, Jifa.
And thank you for joining us.
Thank you too.
All right, I guess all of you are all busy towards Sunday.
Yeah, we're preparing towards the manifesto launch, but we're still on track. As I always keep saying, Nana Akufo-Addo is focused. You got the information that he was in Ashaman today. He's still there actually, and they are busy working seriously. He has his team on board. Everyone is working tirelessly towards the manifesto launch. I was doing my bit in the office till I had to leave and come here. I'll be going back from here. And we are focused for Sunday. It's going to be a lovely lunch. We've invited all there's a 12, it starts at 12 o'clock, the main one at a unique palace inside the Trade
Fair Center.
And that one is strictly by invitation for the identifiable groups, the diplomats, some chairmen, parliamentary candidates, former ministers of state, and some selected organizations.
So that starts at 12?
That starts at 12.
Okay.
And then your invitation, you go in. Then when we finish that around 2 o'clock, the main event, that is the rally in front of the forecourt of the trade fair, would come off. Will take off around between 2 and 3, but it's slated for 2 o'clock. But by latest 3, we should be on board and kicking the whole trade fair Labadi enclave. We're going to give a big uproar to tell Ghanaians that, yes, we are ready to take office.
But in terms of the manifesto, you talked about 2 separate events. So will there be speeches that will reflect highlights from the manifesto?
There are some sector heads who are going to talk on it, the main rally, because definitely, even though I'm sure most of your the organization, the stations will be carrying it live, definitely those outside too, there will be the board there for them to see what is going on. Definitely, we don't want to hear from the flag bearer or, inshallah, the next president of the Republic of Ghana, Nana Akufo-Addo himself, what he has for them. And it cuts across everywhere, every part of the system. It's not just words that he's going to give out. It's not just promises. He's spelled out the solutions to the problems of today's Ghana.
So he will not reiterate the problems. He will be providing
solutions.
No, he's
going to give us solutions.
And that's what the manifesto will bring.
That's what the manifesto is all about. There are solutions to the problems of the Republic of Ghana. And the major one is about jobs. The other one we can talk about is about the corruption that has engulfed this country at the moment. And it's funny that you can't, when you check the NDC manifesto, there's nothing about corruption in it. But he stated clearly, and this I can say anywhere, anytime, because he stated that he's going to create the office of the independent prosecutor, who is going to make sure that your ministers are under check, Anybody in government circles are under check. Even the people in the private sector who are going to seek government contracts
so we're
are
going to
be
see
under check.
It's going to be about, we're going to see something good about jobs.
Yeah, we're going to see something about jobs. You're
corruption.
Corruption.
And you've been talking about, industrialization and building Ghana from the bottom up.
Yeah.
So that's also going to be a key pillar as well. All right.
Education is going to be in there. Anything you need. And you see, our manufacture is a bottom-up approach. We dealt with everyone. We communicated with everyone down there. When it was going around on the store after the 2012 elections, there were sectors that were already working, and they brought us the information that the people needed, what the solutions they needed to the problems of today. So it's not as if he's brought his own idea and come to impose. And that is where you realize that my brothers and sisters on the other side are always having it wrong, because they don't plan with the people on the ground. It's about them. What can I do? I'm just going to put up a structure, whether it's good or bad, whether the people need it or not. I have to put up the structure so that what I can get, I get from it. So we are not going to do it that way.
So the manifesto is based on information from the ground.
It's based on everybody
which is congregated for, and that's what we're going to see on Sunday. Every sector
we've worked with them to come out with this manifesto.
All right.
Because it's a two-strong approach. They need to understand what is going on, and you also need to get there. So definitely when they put it out, they'll see that these are the things we sat down together, we talked about and everything.
The MPP seems to have focused a bit of its campaign in Greater Accra. Let's see and hear some of the things that Mr. Akufo-Addo has been saying on his campaign for Greater Accra.
Brian bread. Ajuma edi ho. The school fees are yet to meet you. Lights no dey and can was and cry. Sao ho nyina. Na kopo abie kwan amaye. Se be fire kokro motiso. Ye yi sao how nyina. Afi John Dramani Mahama. Wabedi vice president 4 years. Wabedi president 4 years. Ose adwuma oba me ama Ghana for no. Owie. If you for 4 years you enter. Yera Mahama. Your man 20 years, baby, it's not a hard. The Besamo, I feel there. And you are back and I say, you know, I am your game, a couple of years. Yeah, Besha Quaya, yeah, Baba Tuabe, and what you are, Mahama, as he fall. I don't need to make that kind of money. No sinsua. I'm a climber. A good father, the MPP, I buy. What in someone? They can say, when I go bomb, be a crime, my hair. The person, my baby. What in the NHIS, there are a year to that's free senior high school also. One district, one factory policy. I'm a person who tells you. Seven market. When you put on my coin, me baby dino so I am the pepe. I'm a Juma to be a boo Ghana ha. Na Ghana for I am a crowd. Yet is a castle so come there. no ye ba be sisa ama ye sika no aye adwuma ama ye ama ahoto ade adwuma ade koso aba ma mu na jewe le baya le ba be sa.
All right, so that was the NPP's flag bearer, Nana Akufo-Addo, speaking in the Klote-Kole constituency. That was just a day or two ago, and he visited Osu specifically. So why have you focused so much attention on the Greater Accra region? You'd already done, you know, a campaign for Greater Accra and went elsewhere. And then now you're back. You're in Ashaiman.
Nana has done a nationwide tour.
Yes.
And he's come back. He's done another nationwide tour, and he's on his third. About the third is the third nationwide tour. But it seems
Greater Accra is...
It's everywhere.
It's a major attention grabber.
Nana, it's everywhere. You see,
is there something special or something you're looking for in
There's something special about Ghanaians that Nana is in touch with.
Let's focus on Greater Accra.
Yeah,
what is it that you are
I'll narrate
looking for?
to Greater Accra. But in general, there's something special about Ghanaians that Nana is focusing on. They've been calling him. They've been crying to him. And even though he travels out of Accra and back every time, when he comes, people from Greater Accra, they are always at his mercy, calling on him that, listen, we need you. This is the time we need you most. Come in, just talk to us. You know, sometimes when you go there and you hear him talking to them, it's the hope he gives them. It's soothing enough at the moment. Because it's like at the moment where we are, there's hopelessness in this nation. So all they need is to hear someone say that, listen, don't worry, I'm with you. We're going to move together. And the messages he's bringing to them, it's enormous. Because he's focused on his messages. He hasn't got time to say, when you insult me 1, I'll insult you 2. He hasn't got the time to tell you that, oh, you are too tall to become a president or too short to become this or that. He hasn't got that time. He comes, he tells you. When he gets to your area, he tells you that, listen, this is the problem in your area. This is the solution I'm going to give you. And let us all work together towards making sure that we fix that problem. It will create jobs for you.
In 2000, one of the deciding factors for the NPP to come to office was winning Greater Accra. But it seems your fortunes in Greater Accra have dipped. What's the guarantee that...
Dipped?
Yes.
Nope.
The NDC regained some of the seats that you held.
Whether they regained it truthfully or not, we are yet to tell this time. I'm telling you, Greater Accra this time, in fact, the whole nation, there's going to be a tsunami.
They're very confident.
There's going to be a Hurricane Matthew in Ghana, 7 December, trust me.
All right, let's come to talking about the PPP, and let's welcome Kofi Asamoah-Siang.
He didn't ask me the places he visited in Accra. He went to Klote-Kole, he went to Ayawaso Central, Ablekuma West, and Ashaiman today. And I believe...
And when is the Greater Accra tour ending?
I'm sure after this week, the last one will be Labadi on Sunday.
Okay, and then after that, you move
next
elsewhere.
Next week, new itinerary will come out.
All right.
For us to see.
Okay,
there have been ups and downs. There have been 1 or 2 issues here and there, but on the whole, I think it's been good. Okay,
let's welcome Kofi Asamoah-Siang. He's the Progressive People's Party's policy advisor. Are you a parliamentary candidate, if I may ask?
No, you not 2016.
Okay. Or not for 2016?
I was in 2012.
All right. And your party, Dr. Ndom and the team were in Bono-Ahafo region sometime last week, 2 weeks ago.
Yes.
They started Northern region. Unfortunately, that had to be suspended briefly because of the accident. But I understand Dr. Ndom is now in Upper West.
Upper West.
All right. So
actually, he's on his way back to Accra.
He's on his way back to Accra. All right. So for you, why Bono-Ahafo? I know it's a swing, one of the 4 swing regions. Are you hoping to make some good impact there?
Yes, thank you very much. We hope to make impact everywhere in Ghana. Our party is national in character, and our target, obviously, for where we come from and the kind of policies we want to put across to the Ghanaian electorate, we are targeting the youth. I have said that what we have on our hands now is a national security threat. 48% of people between 35 or 15 and 35 are jobless and they are not working. And it will interest you to note that 400,000 people enter the job market every year. 70,000 of them are only graduates from polytechnics and university. So the other numbers let's say 330,000. Half of them SS graduates and the rest GSS graduates. This is the seriousness of, this is how deep the matter is to us. And listening to the MPP or the NDC, there is no clear policy direction to solve that problem. And for us, yes, because how do you stop, first of all, the coming onto the market of that huge number? It has to be reduced at some point. So those coming onto the market from GSS, we need to divert the energy somewhere. They don't have to come to the job market looking for jobs. So they must stay in school for the next 3 years or 4 years. Those finishing SSS, what are we doing for them? What kind of job opportunities are available in the system? And even graduates. The first time I was convinced that this country is heading for crisis is when I saw national service people being graduates. And when you say it, people say they are doing national service. If people have been trained and they have brains, and what you use them for, even if they are doing national service, is direct traffic, then that country has a problem. That country is sick. That country needs to change its course of direction, its course of governance.
So what is the PPP looking, since you say that NPP and the NDC don't have a clear direction, what's your proposal?
Basically, you see, today we are talking about, we, the PPP, have one of our own departed acts. And she said something very interesting when she engaged a radio, a TV host. She said, what is inflation? What is GDP? All we want is I'm working and I have a house rented and I have a room and I'm able to get kinky and fish. So when Dr. Baumia and Mr. Misata are engaged in these economic statistics and the exchanges, they are missing the point. The people on the street selling, they are increasing in number every day. That's the thing we should be talking about. The people on the street, the age profile, if you've studied, they are reducing. It used to be 18 years and above. Now you see 14 years, 12 years, 9 years. This should be a concern. So if you don't talk about these things in your manifesto, you don't talk about these things in your programs and policies, then it means that you don't identify, or you have failed to identify the problem.
Maybe you are jumping the gun with the MPP because they'll be launching their manifesto on Sunday.
They said that they have given highlights of...
No, they will be giving. They've not given anyone any highlights.
Thank you.
Oh, when they were...
They've only given us a few
highlights in a different sense.
But they've only given us a few ideas. One district,
yes.
one dam.
They said they are in their manifesto.
Sorry, one village, one dam.
Yes.
$1 million per district.
Yes.
And then one factory, one district. Yes.
And also the election of MMDCs and also the Attorney General.
Okay, to be fair, all of you say that. So
yes.
I don't know.
No, what I'm saying. So some have come out. But they say that these things already said are in the manifesto.
So the issues,
so we know where they are going to...
So the issues relating to the job specifics you're asking for,
yes,
that we can't say we know for a
fact.
Of
course, one factory...
But the NDC would disagree with you. In fact, President Mahama has been saying today that the opposition parties are playing propaganda with the economy. Let's hear what he's been saying about that, and then we'll come to you to deal with that.
From 2012, after the election, when I was sworn in 2013, there were three main issues that captured my attention. The first one was a crippling power crisis that was slowing down the economy and making business and industry very challenged. The second was an unstable, wobbly economy with a high deficit, rising interest rates, and rising inflation, rising interest rates. And the third was a depleted, or let's say deteriorated, social and economic infrastructure in terms of road network, in terms of available access to education, in terms of water, access to electricity, in terms of access to healthcare. And so these were the three challenges that I defined and said that within this first term of office, one must confront them head on and see how we can put them back on track and make a difference in the lives of Ghanaians. And so the economy attracted a lot of our attention. We did everything. We met at Senchi. If you remember, we held the Senchi Stakeholders Forum, which led to the Senchi Consensus. And then based on that safety consensus, we came out with what we call the homegrown fiscal and consolidation policy. We took this homegrown fiscal consolidation policy to the International Monetary Fund, and we went into a program, a 3-year program. The strategy of going into the 3-year program was to break the vicious cycle where every 4 years we lost macroeconomic stability, and then we had to adjust and adjust again. And so this time, when they offered a program, we could have opted for a 2-year or a 3-year. I said, let's take a 3-year so that it transcends the election year, so that even in an election year, we continue to maintain the fiscal discipline that is necessary to bring the economy back on track. I'm very happy to report that that strategy has yielded results. Even this year, in an election year, when the temptation of politicians is to open the spending gates and just overspend and create imbalance in the economy, our spending is on track. The 4th review the IMF made, the spending targets have been met. We're not spending more than we should, and so income and expenditure are balancing quite nicely. Aside from that, inflation has started to come down, interest rates are coming down, and for the first time in the history of this country, government is living according to its own needs.
All right, so you heard the president there. He talked about what happened from 2013, how they've moved on to stabilizing the energy situation to improve the lot for businesses, individuals, and the like, and embarking on fiscal discipline up until this time now, where for him he feels that we are on the right path. You say that you have a better proposal for the economy and for the young people to create jobs.
You see, we did some calculation, and we want to validate it going forward. We just have information that, and that is official statistics, that this country, about 8 items only, we import foodstuff, sugar, rice, and poultry, 2.2 billion United States dollars every year. That can create immediately, using our minimum wage of 8 cedis a day, that is some 5 to 10 million jobs. If you invested that money. If
you stop that importation.
So half of that gives you additional, half of that importation, if you cut it, gives you 2.5 million jobs. That is how you create jobs.
Okay.
All these talk about, so you provide a market for Ghanaian rice.
Your flag bearer and leader is a man of global, business.
Yes.
So certainly,
it's an international businessman.
If you're going to be stopping importations and the like, these have implications on
you don't need, you don't necessarily
trade space.
If I will explain, you don't come to become president January 7th and say, tomorrow don't bring rice into this country. Our approach is this, and you have said one word: state purchasing power. Using the state purchasing power. Quickly, I'll explain 3 things. The first one is that government of Ghana buys things from the market. He's the biggest spender. So the money that belongs to government that it gives to schools, school feeding, public functions, capacity building programs, and so on, that money must go after made in Ghana goods. So any program that is attended by state officials, that food must be served. If it's not Ghanaian chicken, you won't pay for it. So that is a deliberate discrimination against or in favor of Ghanaian goods and services. That is how the first step at, if you like, creating the jobs.
Creating jobs locally, or creating a certain demand that would generate jobs.
That's the word. Creating demand for Ghanaian produce. We met the poultry farmers the last time, and their market share is only 5% of the entire poultry that we consume. And even that, they are struggling to have a market for it. How can government can say that all secondary schools in Ghana, the fee we give you, which is subsidized, the feeding grant, you can't buy chicken from Brazil. That is a deliberate thing.
I don't know about secondary schools eating chicken though, but
rice they do.
Okay,
yes,
they eat rice.
Egg they
fish, do. Yes, eggs.
Before you know, eggs are coming from outside this country. These are some of the things you should do.
Tomatoes.
And all the statistics of GDP, 5%, 2%.
Nicely, which I agree with him. But you see, when he was talking about it, he said that, listen.
And people, and I must say that for the MPP, the accusation is that in as much as you are pro-business, you also favor those who import a lot. And that's why the chicken, for instance, the imports on chicken.
That's what I'm getting to, and I'll get there. You see, he didn't really give solutions to the problems that
the solution is to create a demand for our local.
You don't just get up and say, I've created demand. Listen, there's competition. there is competition. Anything you do locally, you should make sure that that local purchase is going to be cheaper than the import you are bringing in. If the imported products, like the chicken and boxes of chicken and things, are cheaper than a full chicken, definitely the poor man on the street who can't afford that big chunk or that expensive chicken would go for the dead ones, the frozen dead long ago ones that they'll use. You see, so I mean, don't try and
you see,
know,
he's missing a
make
point.
around the whole thing and act as if
Jafar,
it's
he's
just
missing
that.
a point.
No, no,
It is
no.
not
Let me finish.
government. You see,
Don't
I
worry.
am government.
My
I am
brother.
spending my money. I'm not interested in what
talking
is cheap or what is expensive. I'm saying whether expensive or not, I'll buy it. It's Mercedes-Benz not expensive.
But what
Don't
would
people
be,
buy
what
buying
would
it,
be
you are
the-
going to bring it,
what
and it's
would
going to
be
be-
the- what
nobody
would
will
be the
purchase.
economy in, and I guess that is the issue that we have
You
to.
need to start from
That is
somewhere.
the issue we have to deal with.
We are not
the
going to
cost
go-
of goods
as against the imported ones.
imported
And that is
ones.
something that Nana Addo Dankwa is going to address in
hold on.
total.
That is when the individual, you see, I did economics and they will tell you that the consumer is a rational person. So if this is cheaper than that and the quality is assured, he will go for the cheaper person.
Definitely.
I am saying, government, I don't need to select the cheap one. I am taking a deliberate policy direction to protect our own, to protect the market for Ghanaian goods and services. So I'm not interested in whether it's expensive or not. I am the spender.
Okay.
So,
I
and I'm
guess
paying for
guess
you.
the Calipo challenge
Yeah.
has shown.
No, I mean, when you get
Nana
a leader
seems to
who touches
galvanized a certain
everything.
attention
Yes.
towards
Look,
Calipo.
No, if you get a leader who touches everything and turns into gold, definitely you
Now
want to use that
Calipo,
leader.
so now Calipo is good.
Calipo, go and ask him. The market is got over this week. I mean,
I hope you are not going
it's-
to make the prices go up for we
It
parents who've been
wouldn't.
buying
If you
it.
are not careful, it will even drop.
I hope
There is,
Because
there's a second
now-
part of what we will do. The first one is deliberate. I have this money. I decide where to spend it.
The
The
other
second
part.
one is deliberate creation of demand. We can say as a government, and we will do so, that give 1 egg to every Ghanaian child from class 1 to class 6 once a week. Just look at the numbers. Will the poultry farmers have the capacity to produce it? No. They need to expand their work. They need to invest. They need private sector people to support them. That is what you do. That one also has another benefit of creating a sense of consciousness and patriotism in these young ones who are coming. So in a generation, you get people who will not occupy public service positions and think that the state owes them something, so take money away. These are people who will grow up. And when you say it, they think it's too far away. I finished University of Ghana 16 years ago. So if you have started implementing this policy that we are talking about in 2002, we'll be only 4 years shy away from achieving it and accomplishing it. This is the vision that we are talking about. And finally, the Calipo issue reminded me that we are going to deliberately create consciousness for Ghanaians. This test that you're talking about that we have developed so that we only go for imported goods. Government deliberately will have to engineer a situation. I think President Kufuor attempted something they called national orientation and so on.
And it's working well.
It has to be sustained. Something consciously has to be done so that our energies and our money go after Ghanaian things. I'm looking for Ghanaian movies to buy from Google Play Store and so on. I'm asking for it. Where is it? You want me to buy CD? I'm not having CD. I can't play CD on this tablet. So put Ghanaian things there. I'm looking for it. So when you create that consciousness and you create that excitement there, Ghanaian money will go after this. I'm tired of buying foreign
final
movies.
point,
That is what
because
government should do.
yes,
You're giving more the points to say, and
no,
you are
on
not
the
letting me rebut
On the economy,
on
yes,
the
because we
economy.
have the solution.
You see, everything he stated here are promises.
proposals,
Proposals,
more like
and
it.
it's more like a promise. But we are giving you the solution. Listen, like the poultry farmer he's talking about, instead of going to tell me that, oh, we'll give the child an egg and blah, 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 we are telling you, and our manifesto will bring it out. You see, listen, we are going to give the farmer, the poultry farmer, all the necessary ingredients so that they produce the feed they get the feed at
That's
a
the
cheaper
wrong
cost.
approach to do it.
Okay.
At a cheaper
Please
cost. When
allow
it
him.
comes at a cheaper cost, now you, the government, can now go and purchase from them for the students. We've talked about, don't forget that.
So your
we
aim
already
will
talked
be to
about
try and
free
bring down
education.
cost of
We are
doing
bringing down
business
cost of
in the
doing
country,
business
so
so that
that
it will be easy and okay for most people to go there. If the person is supposed to supply the poultry farmer maybe with potassium, someone will be in charge or someone will be able to buy potassium or get the potassium and supply it.
Okay.
The poultry farmer will have the resource to purchase it.
Okay, I guess in all of this whole discussion, the PPP going to court today over the cost of filing fees raises the issue of what the cost
Have you closed the chapter on the economy?
For the meantime.
Okay, Sundays you say I'm manifesto, so don't worry.
Raises the issue about the cost of living in the country. And what do you make of, what's your initial reaction
I thought you'd let...
we will come to him.
Professor PPP and...
but I'd like to, what are your thoughts on
we
the
also
court decision today?
also raised the thing that the filing fee was quite
Yeah, but you
enormous.
still went ahead and
no,
you didn't support their
because
cause.
you raised it. But that doesn't mean that, listen, we've raised so many things with the Electoral Commission. We've realized that their leader has decided, when she decides that I'm going to do this, it's quite difficult to change it. So we are not going to say that, oh, because it's been sent to court, we are going to sit down and watch. We had to present our check, which they said, hold on, because we had a court case. Then PPP presented theirs to them, and they took it. For whatever reasons, between PPP and I think they were playing a lobby game over there. But it's up to them anyway. But we decided that, listen, let's go ahead and do it. Fine. The courts have ruled now. They've said that, listen, go ahead and charge. One of the interesting things was that they stated that what they should have done with the CI, I think 94, was to put the approved or agreed fee or the way they are calculating the percentage. So that it doesn't become that it doesn't become a fiat that every year or every election year
then the EC
you can
comes
decide that you are bringing 100,000 Ghana cedis and people would pay. It's a clear, good point. But at the end of the day, the courts have ruled. We believe in the courts a lot, and we say that everything, let the courts decide. The courts have decided, and we have to move on as a party, as a nation.
It's 60 days to the elections, and the court came up with this decision. But I understand, but I heard your initial reaction that this is not over yet.
Yeah, it's not over yet.
So, which is not over yet? The fact that the EC is still holding on to your check, or the fact that the EC will not be able to collect these monies?
Okay, I'll clarify. We went to court challenging the legal basis for the fixing of the filing fee, that amount. And then the Electoral Commission, before the matter could be heard, had fixed a date that was earlier than the court hearing.
To receive nominations.
To receive nomination. And then when nominations have been received, you must pay the money. So we went back to court to say that they are going to take the money and the matter is not heard. So injunct them from collecting the money. That is the matter we want to deal with today. That whether if the court allowed them to collect, we will suffer what the lawyers were calling irreparable damages. So between the two, Electoral Commission and PPP, depending on the decision of the court, who will suffer irreparable damage. So we made our case. The two lawyers spoke for close to 2 hours, and the judge said our application for injunction fails. It's denied. So Monday we should come for the reasons why he came to that conclusion, and fix the date for the hearing of the substantive matter for 11th October. So 11th, 12th, 13th, thereabout, we should be able to come to a conclusion as to whether what the substantive matter is.
Okay, so and that is whether the EC should
go ahead and charge.
No, they can go. But as to whether what they are collecting is legal or not is what we are challenging. But in all the discussion, we came, the EC's lawyer and our lawyers were on one particular clause or law in our statutes, and that is PNDC Law 284, Section 11.5. And that is what is at the center of all this.
Yes, I think that talks about it allows the EC to...
These viewers can just go and have a look at it. The judge had to have it read in court 3 times. Once by our lawyer, the counsel for EC, and the judge himself read it. And it's very interesting. That is where the confusion is coming from. The commission shall, by regulations, prescribe the procedures for the nomination of candidates, and shall, in particular, provide for ABC, C is what is important, deposit to be paid, and whether it is refundable or not. Our understanding of this is that the deposit to be paid should be prescribed by regulation.
There's no regulation.
There's no regulation stating that money. And the EC lawyer couldn't cite any. We gave him plenty time to cite which law belonging to the EC contains 50,000 for presidential candidate and contains 10,000 for parliamentary candidate. So that matter is still left for the court
so
to decide.
So that's the substantive matter. But because one will ask, once the court has ruled allowing the EC to court, why continue this fight?
Well, the EC lawyer says something very interesting.
They did say they should collect the money, or they said that they've ruled their case.
No, okay, that is the injunction. That is the injunction.
So the EC can pick the cash too.
Yes.
Okay.
But the EC lawyer, and the EC, we spoke to them. Spoke to the deputy communications manager this afternoon. He indicated that for them, they need to finalize the processes so that they can decide who can contest and who will not. So
Tadia Sori said that.
So the question is then why continue this fight?
No, we need to check the arbitrariness in our view on the part of the EC. Otherwise, in 2020, if this is allowed to go and this is the procedure and they say it's 5 million, are we going to say that that's okay?
So
if
does the PPP have the 2.8 million?
Well, we'll try and raise it. Yeah, we'll try. Yeah, it's a lot of money. And it's going to affect our campaign. It's 2.8 million if we pay for all parliamentary candidates. This is money coming from the Progressive People's Party. And it's taking oxygen from our campaign. So it will affect that. There's no doubt.
So the NPP, they have lots of money.
No, maybe they have a lot of money. That's why.
How will it affect you?
No, that's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money. You can use that money to campaign.
And you're going to keep it with that interest being paid
moving around
for 2 months. I belong to.
So for you,
it's not refundable too.
So for you,
not the case in 2016.
Why?
Because there are conditions for the refund or otherwise.
You have to get a certain percentage.
But you can't say that as for us, we won't get a refund. Which means that, yes, you are predicting a certain election.
You are predicting the outcome of the election.
Which you can't do. Because nobody has one vote yet. All of us have 0.
All right. So you're going to continue or pursue that issue.
Yes,
all right.
But Jifa, you see, the funny aspect about this whole thing is that you remember when MPP was saying, especially legislators were saying that the EC wasn't ready for this November election thing. And even December, if you are not careful, it will be a problem for them. People thought we were being something else and we didn't have the nation at heart. But look at what is going on.
But,
Can you, I could have imagined.
These issues are because people are testing the law.
No, but,
not because the EC is not ready.
No, but
if nobody tests the law, the EC can continue.
When you are doing all these things, you put space in for all these eventualities and law testing and everything to come in. So if we should have agreed on the November 7th, and at this time, because per the law, you know they have to give the full register, I think 3 months before election.
And you don't
the
have
full register, as at now, 2 months to election, is not ready. The register is not ready. So if someone inserts names last minute, and I don't know, because when you get it last minute, the urgency for you or the chances for you to go through everything and make sure that names have not been inserted and things have not been, the whole register has not been tampered with, becomes a problem. I remember in 2012, it came about a week to election. And you ask yourself, a week to election, when I'm busy on the ground working, you think I can go to the register and check name by name to make sure that no one has inserted a name or otherwise? And for even inserting a name, one per constituency, that is 275,000. How much did John Mahama used to win in 2012? About 400,000. So 40 was President Atamils. No, 40 was Atamils.
President Mahama got about
300 and something, almost 400. Yeah. So he can tell you that even if he puts 2 names per polling station, that is a problem. Okay. So we have to be very careful with what you are doing. We are not joking at all. And EC should take the whole thing serious because it's an everyday thing. And it can affect all of us.
We'll come back to just a small issue of the voter transfer program, which ends today. But let's just take a quick break and we'll be right back. And you're welcome back to join Caucus on the Joy News channel on Multi TV. My name is Jifa Bampo. Our guest to my left, immediate left, is Kofi Asamoah-Sian. He's the PPP's policy advisor. And on the extreme right is Alfred Thompson, beg your pardon, who is a member of the NPP's communication team. So let's talk a bit about the voter transfer program that's been ongoing. You seem to have been, the PPP doesn't seem to have been bothered much about that.
Yeah, because matters of indiscipline, you won't find us there.
Is it about matters of indiscipline or making sure that a process that is ongoing is done properly?
Yeah, 2012, I transferred my vote. I registered in Accra because I was a parliamentary candidate in Akemoda. I went to the EC office, transferred my vote, 5 minutes, I'm done. So what is this whole thing
You're
NPP,
surprised that
NDC.
is generated misunderstandings?
I'm not surprised. You see, MPP and NDC, they always want to find an opportunity to increase the tension pre-election times. And I'm not sure they got that in the limited registration exercise. They tried to do a few. So anything that will give them an opportunity to scuffle and fist cuff and show each other that they are more violent than the other, they will do it. But I think it's complete indiscipline, act of indiscipline. It's unwarranted. You want to transfer your vote, go there, tell them where you've registered and where you want to go.
But there were complaints by some people who, in some areas, tried to do that, who felt that the EC officials were not facilitating the process, hence the misunderstandings.
Yeah, but
you can't blame it on the political parties.
Even the EC people, they were not checking the full things. And that's one thing that goes to how this whole country is governed and the problems we give to ourselves and the rules we set. The things they require by law do not exist. Government have not created them. So you want my house number. Where do you have house numbers? You want my street name. You want light bill. How many people have their own light bills? So when you go and make regulation that people should have light bills, when we don't have full electrification around Ghana, when you know for sure the economic situation here in Ghana that some houses will not have light, you know for sure that some people don't have meters, you know for sure that some people will never get it, then you go and put it in a law that they should bring. So when the EC people, officers, don't even relax the rules and just
use discretion to let you facilitate the
create
process.
all this unnecessary tension. So one, it's a problem of misgovernance, and two, the other is that act of indiscipline where people want to show manship and therefore they must bust people, go and demonstrate, seize documents, spoil them, lock some people. Some DCs were locked up and so on and so forth. EC offices locked up. I mean, where are all these things coming from? It's complete indiscipline. And we need to just condemn both NDC and MPP for just holding this whole country to ransom. We shouldn't applaud for them.
Mr. Alfred Thompson, he uses two words, misgovernance and indiscipline. Is that the way you see what happened in Kukum, in Suhum, in Tamale?
I'm very disappointed if he should say this, because you're a political party and your first interest is to guard the ballots that will be put into a box on the last day. Now, elections is a process. It's not a one day thing. He stood as a parliamentary candidate before, and I can attest to you that if someone decides that I'm going to bring so many people here, transfer their votes to that constituency to vote for me, the parliamentary elections is not 50+1. It's even if a vote
first past
the post. Yeah, even if a vote is added and it passes, that is it. So you have to always make sure, and doing that too. In doing this, like you said, the EC, they don't have full details. If someone decides, an EC officer is sitting there and he decides that maybe he's an MPP person or he's an NDC person, and decides that, okay, your party, this is my friend, I'll register people on that day as like a transfer thing, and I bring him to that station, who would know?
Okay, but he also seems to, Mr. Samuel also seems to have a point. This is supposed to be how will I say?
Let us not have
a process that should.
Let us not have polling agents on the day of elections.
No.
Everybody,
it's not the same thing. I don't think it's the same thing.
Everybody
Maybe these are just processes that are not supposed to have the interference of political parties, and that is why some of these things
the political process and understand where I'm coming from. On election day, you don't need a polling agent to sit there for you if the process is free and fair and clear. In that same process, I told you that elections are not done in one day. It's a process.
Yeah, but
and
this
in that process, if you are not vigilant,
this is voter transfer, really.
If you are not vigilant in that process,
it's not like a new registration. It's not like it's a new registration.
We are sitting in this country where we had information that some military personnel they've taken their ID, wanting to do proxy for some of them. I heard TTFM interviewing the head of this thing, and he was saying that, they were just seeing how some of them, or their registration and how they can vote and blah, 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 but it's not because they are trying to do proxies for some of them. But we've heard it. And you don't take this lightly. I've told you, listen, the presidential, even if you put one ballot extra in every ballot box, that is 226 26,000.
It's now 29,000.
29,000
polling stations.
Polling stations. Yeah. Do it 10 times. How much are you getting? 290,000.
Would it have been
ballots.
better to have a stronger security presence? And let's just make this the final point. So
if there was trust, even at the person sitting at the helm of affairs with EC, then you don't even need so many things that go wrong.
I think the trust
is not there.
Move on because really
there's
that's
no
the
trust there.
We
that
have,
is the basis of what is happening in this country. The trust is not there.
The trust will come when you have systems working. If there's a PPP president, what we do, what civilized people do, the banks in Ghana do it. So why can't the Electoral Commission do it? Is that give everybody one identification number.
That number, your campaign about the national ID.
That number follows you anywhere. So if you want to transfer, where is the number? You move it from Akemodan to Accra. That's it. You won't find it in Odan again. It's that simple. In any case, if somebody is transferring people's vote to another area, it means on the other side, somebody will lose or somebody will be affected. But it's the choice of the individual who will decide on a presidential candidate and a parliamentary candidate to come to this side or that side. Whether it's going to affect you or not, it's not your business.
All right. And we now move on to just the last bits of the program. And Dr. Parkway Sindom today in the Upper West region, he's been speaking. And he announced 3 days of mourning for the PPP. Let's just hear him briefly.
Years in Ghana and for broadcasting. Then she also became the Director General of Ghana Broadcasting Corporation. She has done a lot, and she deserves honor from all of us. Because of her, many of our people are disciplined. Tuesday, we will not campaign. Wednesday, we will not campaign. We want everybody to think about her, to make sure that you keep praying for her. Anybody who has done good things for Ghana, we must honor them. She has done good things, so we will honor her. And when her family decides how they will do the funeral, we will be there to make sure that everybody in Ghana knows that she was a good woman, she was a good person, and a good Ghanaian.
All right, thank you very much for staying with us, and we'll be wrapping up soon, but we can't wrap up the program without remembering Madame Ivaluko. Our condolences to you, Kofi, and to the PPP. Big loss for you, for the party.
Yeah, huge loss. If you look at the decision we made as a party, and which she accepted to run for parliamentary election in Korle Klottey, it was because we're looking for somebody in the PPP who could lead the people of Ghana and Accra and provide a certain kind of leadership so that the poverty and the illiteracy and that will go away. And somebody, an advocate for them through Parliament was going to help. So we didn't want to stretch her too much at the national scene to become a vice presidential candidate. So for us to lose her like that is difficult. When she joined the PPP in 2012, we started with her.
That was a big surprise,
yes,
for many of us.
Yes, she said she's wanting to do politics, but she was looking for a different vehicle. And he found that in the PPP. And everything she did, you could see that she was passionate about our practical and pragmatic approach to doing things. I had personal interactions with her. She was a problem solver. She wanted always to provide solutions. And I was not surprised at all that she had an engineering background. So for us, it's a big loss, it's a great loss. But the consolation I have is that from what she did, it should tell me and everybody that once you have life and health, just try and do your best for other people. And that's all that matters. That's what
your comments, because I must say that the Korle constituency suddenly became a really hot ticket in terms of the watchers and the like.
It's sad news. You know, I don't know when I have never heard her say that she wanted to do politics but on a different vehicle. But coming back to the issue, when she came to the limelight was under the MPP regime. President Kufuor identified her and brought her up to become the Director General of Ghana Broadcasting Corporation. And that was where she came out and we could see what she could do. It's sad that Ghana has lost a female of that caliber, it's sad for all of us.
It's like how the NPP lost Hawa Yakubu.
Yes, at a very prime time when we need a lot of female, helping here and there, even if she hadn't won. Definitely, I'm sure, and then another government.
That would have been, but that was going to be a tough contest.
I believe that place, Lawyer Addison would take it. Okay. I believe so, but let me leave that for now.
Yeah, we can leave that, but I must say that that was one of the most anticipated contests for the election.
So it's sad to lose, and I'll say our condolences, because it's both of us. Both of us have lost someone who is special. The whole Ghana has lost a special gem, and we can't get someone like her.
How's her family coping?
Yes, we were there this afternoon. Incidentally, there was an award. I'm sure she might have been notified because the award was today.
Tonight.
And yes, early in the day. And I'm sure they might have, and she died yesterday. So I'm sure she knew about it, that it was going to come. They said it was the Woman Achiever for 2016 and conferred on her by Inside Foundation. I think she's inspired a lot of people. She was running a youth program.
Yes, she had a NGO training and provide ICT and the like.
And they gave a very good citation. First satellite engineer, first female director general of GBC. And
first woman engineer to be employed by the GBC.
Yeah, and it has some interesting civil servant association group in the US and all that. So I think she paid her dues, and we respect her role in the PPP. And we'll mourn and see how for the next 1 week we'll come out of this and proceed.
All right. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Thank you very much, Mr. Alfred Thompson.
Last minute one. I'll just invite everyone to be with us on Sunday. If you can't come to the Trade Fair Center, I believe I'll see him there. But if you can't come,
I've seen an invitation from you. So we'll see what happens.
We'll see you.
But
if
since
you can come
media,
from 2
Madam Valoko was our chief editor.
All right.
Nothing goes out
she will come
without her looking at
everybody
it.
should come and support us. It's open to all Ghanaians, the 2 p.m. one. So we expect everyone to be there. Listen to insightful things about our manifesto. And I'm telling you, Nanado is the right man to lead this country.
All right. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Alfred Thompson, Kofi Asamoah-Sian, most grateful to you both for coming in. My name is Jifa Bampo. Join us again next week.